What's good, YouTube? All right, we got we're finishing up our day here. We got I've been requested this a lot. I've been requested a lot of things, so my apologies for not getting to it. But we got some money game. Um, as with Ren, I don't know what genre he woke up and chose to do this. If you're new to my channel, by the way, get out there and throw Ren some support. Throw him a like. Throw him a subscribe if you haven't already. Like my video if you like it. Comment down below if you want to engage. I tend to reply a lot, by the way. Ask me some fucking random questions. I'll ask you a random question. Um, I'm gonna go with what was your favorite childhood snack to fucking air just kicked on. Um, Background noise. Just fucking background noise. I got my dog eating over here. Everything's messing my video up right now. Your favorite childhood, like if you get a sack lunch and you go to school. Obviously, the best things when your parents give you money and they just say hit the cafeteria, get whatever you want. Like my school had like its own little Pizza Hut. Like I could choose like options, whatever. But what's your favorite thing to see? We all get mad at like fruits or veggies. I love fruit veggies now, but as a kid, you're like, I want to see some gushers or like a fruit roll up or some shit like that. What was your favorite thing to see when you open up the bag? I want to know about it. Wherever you're from, whatever you may eat. Let's jump into some money game. And welcome. Oh, and subscribe to me. Um, Speaking of white noise, or background noise, I did a video yesterday or the day before. I don't know. I'm getting confused. I did chalk outlines, and it started off with like just shh, the shit that makes you like fall asleep at night. So he's dragging a rope.
It's a strange time we're living in. World can put fear in. Hierarchy parties, they make us feel inferior. Read.
It's a strange world we're living in. World can put fear in you. Hierarchy parties. I'm trying to listen. Okay.
Living in. World can put fear in. Hierarchy parties, they make us feel inferior. Read runs through Parliament interiors. Devils walk among us, they think the criteria. Eerie, theory, stripe, fearing, weary-minded men when we're.
That's I like how he did it. Eerie, theory, stripe. The way he's just sort of setting up his vocals and his kind of his rhyme schemes there.
They think the criteria, eerie, theory, stripe, fearing, weary-minded men when we're.
Weary-minded men. What are the weary-minded men doing?
Clearly living in eerie, theory, stripe, fearing, weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships, nearly blinded by.
When we're clearly living in dictatorships, the weary-minded we fear the weary-minded when we're clearly living in dictatorships. Okay. So this is going to be like another one of his, sort of opposition to the higher ups, to this just kind of counterculture, establishment sort of songs is what I'm getting. Whether it be, whether it be big business or government or we'll see. We'll see when we get in here.
Blinded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships, nearly blinded by illusions. The truth, who's fooling who? A ball chained to your shoes.
But who's following who? A ball chained to your shoes. So a ball chain is sort of signifies like being imprisoned or sort of like essentially like a slave to, enslaved to, right? And he was just talking about dictatorship. And weary-minded. So he's talking about just by the name of the title of the song, "Money Game." I'm assuming those in control of money, right, are those in control of us, and those that, and I'm just making assumptions at this point, and those that are direct what sort of happens with our minds and where our ball goes is where our chain's gonna go, is where we're gonna go. And he's got, it looks like, hold on a second. Yeah, that's weird because I was like looking down. He's usually playing guitar in his songs. He's not even playing guitar in this song. And that rope that he had, I guess, is the noose. So if that's symbolic to, this faceless kind of man, strung to a noose, and he's just sort of imprisoned by, this Ren's character here. So
Parliamentarians, devils walk among us. They think the criteria eerie, theory, stripe, fearing, weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships, nearly blinded by illusions to choose. But who's fooling who? A pull chain to you.
Illusions to choose. We're given illusions to choose, but ultimately we're not really choosing, right? We're driven to choose a certain way. We're essentially brainwashed to choose a certain way. It's illusions that we are making choices. We're not.
Ships nearly blinded by illusions to choose. But who's fooling who? A pull chain to your shoes on pain. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game.
The pursuit of our own wealth lies a flame that makes greed.
Crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game. The less this
makes greed a game. Yeah, but that's just based on years and years of money controlling everything. So we kind of have to be greedy, or we're told that we have to be, essentially, or we're sort of accustomed to, or, in order to get where you want to, you have to kind of use the means that are presented to you. Money being one of them, so.
But who's fooling who? A pull chain to your shoes on pain. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game that lets this whole world burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns. But money.
So the greed's driving the whole world burning. So if you go back in time, like, money wasn't as such. It's more of like a more recent culture. It's more of like a capitalistic thing, and that's what sort of causes greed. In the way of just controlling people, controlling everything. Money's power, plain and simple. Where it used to be a lot more kind of. If you look back in time, everything was more. Yes, there were the rich and the wealthier, and there were sort of societal classes. There were elites and whatnot. It was a lot more of a working trading sort of situation, but now it's just 100%. Money's power. Chase that green, right?
Money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a kid. Now those bits of paper, the whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint.
That's what I just said. Money was invented for trade, right? And even like currency in general, right? So if you go back, like even coins, like back in ancient Rome and whatever, and then like I think more established, like when you get into, I think it was like more like Eastern culture that like the real like sort of invention of the Chinese, right? Of money itself, but to be used as a currency. But it was more so like trade oriented. Like either you're trading a good or a service for another good or a service, not a piece of paper, right?
But money was invented for
even like gold and silver have value outside of paper. Has no value in and of itself, right? Even though I guess it's cloth, but it's you know what I'm saying.
As the world turns, the whole world burns.
I'm never gonna make it through the song, by the way.
Money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child.
Twist hearts, it turns a saint into a sinner, right? Corruption. You can start off as wholesome as you'd like, but there's a dollar figure attached to everything. If I was standing in front of you and I said, I want you to either A, murder that puppy, or B, how many zeros do I need to put on this check in order for you to do so? There will be a figure. You don't think there would be? There's going to be a figure, right? No, I would never kill a puppy. Yeah? How many zeros can you imagine?
Into a killer. His finger on the trigger of a money game.
Exactly.
Oh, rain, 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 rain. A storm it comes our way, and and those who rise to distorted lies.
Oh, rain. What was he saying there? So first of all, I love when he just ran. I wasn't expecting him to start singing. That has like a jazzy kind of like Amy Winehouse type vibe to it.
Storm it comes our way.
When he's rain,
Rain, rain, rain, rain. A storm it comes our way, and those who rise to distorted lies. Poison in the veins.
rain. A storm it comes our way, and those who rise through distorted lies. So you could be talking about so rain, go away. So if rain is it's a precursor to a storm, right? A storm he just mentioned, right? So storms, we don't like storms, they're annoying, right? So rain, did you say go away or comes my way? What did you say?
Rain, 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 rain. A storm it comes our way.
A storm it comes our way.
And those who rise to this.
So it's coming anyways. So there's a storm coming anyways. The rain's coming, the storm's to follow. And those who rise through distorted lies. So the lies that those people tell, distorted lies, poison in their veins. So they're already poisoned anyways. They're poisoned in the mind. They're poisoned in the veins. The poison runs thick through their bloods. So those are the sinners he's talking about who can get through the rain, and rise to the top essentially. So those who are left to get shat on by the rain and get stormed on, so they can, they're essentially above the storm, and we're living beneath the storm. So interesting.
A storm it comes our way, and those who rise to distorted lies. Poison in the veins, but we like to point the blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying. So we all want to blame somebody, right? We all want to blame somebody for us not being above the clouds and above the storm. But it's a balance, man. Look in the mirror, right? It's kind of what he's saying. It's what I'm taking from this. If you want to sell out, then you want to, the saint sinner thing, right? If you want to, you could probably figure out a way to get there, through the right avenues, at the expense of something internal that you're going to lose as a human being, shamefully. But
blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. Stop.
I'll try to not talk so much. I'm going to make this really long. He's just saying a lot of shit. So he's putting on gloves to do dirty work right now. There's symbolism there. You put on the gloves, you get ready for a murder, right? He's got a bat in his hand. So you put on the gloves so you're not leaving prints anywhere. You can keep yourself clean, essentially, or at least the illusion of being clean while you're doing something dirty. He's using like props as instruments. He's done this in other shit too. That's just the bat, just as he's on beat with that.
Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate.
Everyone's a resident to support these ideas to keep us separate. So it's cool I do that. Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everything's a resident. That was a nice little rhyme scheme right there. But kind of compact too. But what he's saying there is we're supporting the division without knowing we're supporting the division, essentially.
It's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep Mr. President.
Everyone's a resident of fear. Okay, I missed that. Because fear, you're afraid of if you have a voice. You're afraid of not following sometimes, right? So we're all just a resident of fear.
That everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate. When they make us believe that everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. I say proudly through gritted teeth. That's my right to hate. That's freedom of speech.
So he's saying that he went really fast there. He's commenting on how freedom of speech.
The right to hate, that's freedom of speech.
Okay, it creates the right to hate because of our freedom of speech, right? So I can say whatever I want because I'm allowed to, right? But it gives me the right to hate. I can say hateful things. I'm allowed to say hateful things. You literally I can walk up to a police officer and say, fuck you. Like, I don't like you and I don't like your family. I'm allowed to do that.
Speech. But when did freedom become a reason to hate? A way to justify a racist slur or insult we make? There's an irony in freedom, cause us in the West, we have pillaged and plundered the murder that's savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called up.
I missed half of that, but we pillaged and something to colonize those in the West, to colonize. So basically he's saying that that we were victims of I guess hypocrisy, right? That we condone certain things, you know, and we also vilify certain things that we ourselves are, because the way that we were colonized and the mass murdering of the Native Americans will just start there.
Irony and freedom, cause us in the West,
we saying irony, so same thing, yeah.
Pillaged and plundered the murder that's savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain value that you never keep yourselves. Your country was in flames, you denigrate yourselves in a second. Still you spit your venom, demonizing immigrants when really you're the immigrant, cause all...
Demonizing immigrants, it's true too. Like all immigrants, really. Like we're sort of established. I'm speaking we, like the collective we. I'm not saying me personally. I'm not demonizing anybody. I'm just calling it like it is. So we as Americans, right? So there's a sort of, you know, a status quo that we're used to, right? Or that we've created. And the illusion that he spoke of is that status quo, right? Where immigrants, like, and by the way, like, you have people fighting to get into this country. You can make an argument that there should be a lot of people fighting to get out of it, but we demonize them, right? They're all bad for whatever reason. The Mexicans from down south are bad for trying to make a better life for themselves, even though they're coming here to work for their families and likely take on jobs that we're probably not going to do anyways for the amount that they're going to do it for. That's just good business, right? Pay less for better work. And immigrants of all walks of life. I was just using that as an example, but
all of us are immigrants or descended from immigrants. Irony is imminent. I'll shed the light on immigrants. America was colonized by Britain. Britain, it was colonized by Rome. And also colonized by the Saxons. They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon the Germans because of history's pain, and yet we made the same mistakes all again.
So what he's referring to, throw shade at the Germans because of history's pain. So Germans are blamed for both wars, right? Even though, you know, the first war wasn't necessarily. He's talking so fast I can't even fucking talk. You know, they weren't necessarily at fault for it. The second war, yeah, obviously there was, you know, they were, and I'm, by the way, family's Jewish, so it's, and you throw stereotypes just based upon a person. It doesn't even have to be a German, just based upon what somebody has done in the past. You can say the same thing about me. You can say the same thing about Americans. We've done horrendous things as Americans in the past. My people have. We're all the same, really. Everybody's done horrendous things to some walks of life, but certain groups, you know, get remembered for it if it's there's a currency bias. There's a recency bias that if it's something that's happened within like the last 100 years or so and it's horrific, there's more documentation of it, there's more ways that we can remember it. And B, if it's in the history books, people can pick and choose what they put in history books. People can pick and choose what I learned growing up, that Americans didn't do anything wrong, that my people didn't do anything wrong, but this is what the Germans did, so we're gonna, we'll vilify them, but I mean, yes, there was horrendous things. Sure, I'm not discounting that at all.
Demonize a whole people, Jewish or Muslim, the same and the same. Old situations play on repeat, the same old people.
Right, Jewish, Muslim, same thing. Like, after 9/11, you're now demonizing all Muslims because all Muslims, flew a plane into a building allegedly. So it's crazy.
TV shows repeat, yeah, we worship the bleak. Our opinions are our own and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's no right, in the middle we sleep. Rain, 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 rain.
Right.
A storm it comes our way. And those who rise through distorted lies, poison in the veins. But we like to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves.
I like the symbolism here with the gloves coming off.
We're all part of this old money game.
After he's exposed the dirt on everybody, now he's just, fuck it, I'll get dirty myself.
This old money game. This old money game.
So he's adding fuel. He's just, and it's at the end of his chorus is, you know, this old money game, and then he's adding fuel to the fire. I don't know if he's gonna light the sky on fire. I hope not, because he does all this shit sort of in one take, and then homeboy would die. But it's interesting how he took the guitar, roughed him up a little bit, gave the guitar back, and he's talking about this sort of like repetitive circle, this toilet bowl of this money game. And he's sort of like, so he's playing it, beat him up a little bit, let him play a little bit. So it's kind of symbolic of the money game too. It's just like, it's a big give and take, right? From the top down, but it's a lot more take than it is give. Give just enough so that we stay here and we think that we're happy, right? And that nothing drastic happens, like any sort of revolution or anything like that. But continue to take. Take. It's a money game. It's like you don't pay taxes, they take taxes. Thanks, Chris Rock. Was that supposed to be like symbolic of he did the deed? Like now or is it that he stopped putting fuel on it and he's making a decision to choose his own path, to take the gloves off, to take the, you know, to make his own choices. Ryan got a little swelled up for this one. Okay, so he took his mic off. All right, are we done singing? We're back to the white noise. So he's ending kind of like he started. So back to that repetition thing. Interesting. Pouring fuel on himself. So we are all part of this whole money game. So that's his look in the mirror moment. That's him including himself in this and deciding not to carry on with it. Choosing to, you know, in a very drastic way to be above that or below that. or just not affiliated with that. And the only way to do so is to fucking blow it up. Um, Otherwise, he'll continue to, like he mentioned, ball and chain, continue to be a sheep, no left, no right. He'll continue to be in the middle. It's that repetition, right? That that keeps us all kind of strung in, right? And the only way in his mind right now is just fucking light the shit on fire, right? But the only way to do that is to remove myself. If everybody removes themselves, then there wouldn't be an issue. But thanks to government, corporate, there's all sorts of different groups where I mean, you look at it's I mean, just even like the leaders of the world or the leaders of this country, even the amount of money that people make. And in I was reading something today on I forget, it was on Facebook or something, that like um, they're calling for more reductions in pay in different areas, and it was just like, hey, share this if you think maybe the House should, you should put your own staff on reductions and see how they like it, or one of those fucking stupid memes or whatever. Um, but similarly, like there's in hiring a president, it's a money game, right? Because whoever spends the most money um, while campaigning, you're gonna have a lot better odds than me. Um, but and that's always the force, right? It's dollars. That's always gonna be that's always gonna drive everything until someone lights a fire on it, or a lot of people light a fire on it. But definitely not an overnight thing. Definitely not happening anytime soon. We'll see though. We'll see the tolerance that people have. Um, no, cool rat, cool song, deep, deep. A lot of meaning to this. Lot to unpack. And I stopped kind of reacting to some stuff because I was like 36 seconds into his song and like an hour and a half into my video already. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna try to zoom through this a little bit for the people here. But yeah, it's just it's a good sort of awakening / exposure song to underlying narratives um, of the higher ups and the control and where it comes from, dollars and things that we all essentially know, really. But it's probably good to hear often, because a lot of this shit, it goes taboo. You don't just have lunch with somebody and bring up conversations about corporate greed, or maybe you do. I don't. I talk about who won the basketball game the night before, and why my sons aren't playing right now, and why didn't Kevin Durant show up. That's the shit that I talk about, not about the why our country is or by and large defaulting based on the dollar and how much debt we have, and why I'm a sheep for following. It just doesn't come up plus it's just not fun to talk about. It's not enjoyable. Like, hey, you want to know how fucked everything is? Let me write it down for you. Take this paper home and then write your answer and bring it back to me. We'll do lunch tomorrow. Anyways, I've taken you on a ride through 28 minutes. You've probably already seen the video. Either way, I'm going to link it below. If you like, comment down below. Subscribe. Ren with these, it's these his kind of just poetic way of attacking the system, and making it very thought provoking, and being so musically talented that he's already created himself such a large platform. I don't think he scraped the surface on where he can get to, honestly. Like, he's blown up, in the past, especially like from what I've seen in the past year, 2 years, with a lot of people like me. They're just he's blowing up everywhere right now. But I don't think he's even near what his potential is with the shit that he can do. I'm interested to find out though, so I'll come along for the ride. Thanks for joining, and we will catch you on the next.